Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Daredevil figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at Matt in his red suit from Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again on Disney+. Now I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button so you're notified as soon as brand new Daredevil content goes live. I've been so freaking excited for this. Y'all know me, huge Charlie Cox Daredevil fan. I've been counting down the days until this thing's release, so let's not waste any more time. As for the box art, loving the way this looks. It almost comes across as though this is something Muse painted, and I think that's the intended effect. We've got this textured finish for everything that's not Daredevil or the logos. Speaking of the logos, metallic red for the Daredevil one, then Daredevil in Braille below that. They did that with their first Daredevil release, and I'm glad to see it back again here. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. That sort of hearing effect, the concentric rings behind Daredevil on the front cover wrap around to the side. We've got a Daredevil logo and Daredevil at the bottom, once again in Braille. And that rough texture wraps all the way around the box. It's even on the back. The entire thing feels kind of gritty, and I like that. We've also got warnings, legal information, and their store locations on the back. Underneath the slip cover, a lot more red for the inner box. The outer one was black with red as the accent. The inner box is predominantly just a couple of different shades of red. Open window showcasing Daredevil and all of his accessories inside. Then on the side of the box, those rings that we saw on the front. This is supposed to say Daredevil in Braille, but unfortunately the Braille isn't really raised. It's glossy, so you can sort of feel it, but it's not real Braille, unlike what's on the outside of the box. Then around the back, bunch more logos and text, plus some actual figure photography. Okay, moment of truth. First in-hand impressions for Season 1, Red Suit Daredevil from Born Again. So far, interesting. There's been some controversy online, surprise, surprise, controversy with the Hot Toys release when isn't there, but this time it's around the physique because Hot Toys didn't use a custom body bespoke to Charlie's proportions and physique when he's wearing the Daredevil suit. That, indeed, appears to be the case. Does it ruin the figure for me? Well, we'll dive in deeper throughout the course of the video. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. It's a very simple one using their rectangular base mold, and the one that's coming with Black Suit Daredevil from Born Again Season 2 is way better than this, but credit where credit is due, they finally used a show logo as the nameplate. I've been asking for this for ages. It spruces up the front of the base. It is kind of redundant for Daredevil though, because there's another show logo directly above it. Hot Toys, I think you only need one. Just pick one spot for a logo and roll with that. Then for the artwork, city skyline done in red, this glossy echolocation effect, and up top, a height adjustable crotch grabber. Now this is a really interesting accessory. We get his battle damaged cowl missing one horn. I like the metallic silver, the blood splatter, the scratching, the translucent red lenses, but he can't wear this, and he can't hold it. Like, it's non-detachable from the display base, it's glued in place, and you can't remove the helmet from the masked head sculpt either. You slide it up, remove the mouth plate, lock it back down. So maybe if you were to break both of these off, either the stand or the neck piece, then you could swap them round, but I'm not willing to chance it just in case I break either one of them beyond repair. If you manage to get this cowl on this neck piece, let me know if it's worth the risk down in the comments. Seeing as though we were on the subject of the masked head sculpt, we get two different mouth plates for it. One that's more stoic, the other that's a lot angrier. The detail alone on the teeth-gritted mouth plate is making me want to display it. The skin texture on both is good, the 5 o'clock shadow, the sculpted and painted stubble, no complaints there. But the teeth, you can see the separation between them. The gums are well painted, and there's separate dentures inserted inside the mouth. There's even gaps between the top and bottom rows of teeth. Now, these are different mouth plates versus what we got with the Netflix version. I've got thoughts when it comes to likeness, but we'll have to discuss that a little bit later. Same thing with the Matt Murdock head sculpt. We'll dive in deeper once it's installed on the body. But right now, all you need to know is it's a completely different head sculpt versus the She-Hulk one, and in my opinion, a dramatically better head sculpt at that, both in terms of likeness and detail and the expression. You can still remove the glasses, which are accurate to Born Again, and they've got translucent lenses, you can see his eyes through them. But unfortunately, they didn't give him moving eyes. Look, I get it, Charlie Cox plays a blind character in Matt Murdock, but still, it would have been cool to lean into that performance by having his eyes facing one way and his head sculpt going the other. Unfortunately, his eyes are fixed in place, both with this head sculpt, and seeing as though they're reusing it for the black suit one, that figure's head sculpt as well. They've made some pretty big improvements to Daredevil's billy clubs over the years. The first attempt was okay, the She-Hulk one even better, because we got a wire connecting the separate billy clubs. This time, they've taken it a step further, but with the combined ones, texture for the grips, metallic red top and bottom, the middle sections, they're more of a slightly metallic, dark black gunmetal, and they've even sculpted in the little release mechanisms where Daredevil would push them and separate the billy clubs. Speaking of the separate ones, there's some ports up top, and they've given us quite a long cable that is fully wired that you can connect the billy clubs with for dynamic posing. Versus what they gave us with the Netflix one, this flaccid, unwired cable in the middle. This, big improvement. And lastly, a full array of brand new sculpts for hands and pairs for every single one of them. That makes me so happy because Hot Toys, they've been cheaping out on hands, but not with Daredevil. There's armor plating sculpted in, this dark maroon red, and weathering over the top, which I didn't expect. I thought these hands would be completely clean. These relaxed open palm ones, quite natural looking gestures too, with the thumbs hanging down the front like that. Fingers curled in style pose hands. Fingers splayed out, open palm hands. There's a lot of detail on the palms, surprisingly. Two closed fists, and I'm so glad they don't have holes drilled through them like what they've been doing with Spider-Man, because that enables them to give us separate gripping hands. You don't have to pry open the grips to pop the billy clubs in there, but still maybe heat them up first, because that is a pretty tight grip. What we're going to do now is get Daredevil himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that for now. We will do dynamic posing, we'll get the moving camera going at the end of the video. Stay tuned to the end, it will be worth your while, I promise. This Daredevil figure looks pretty good, but is he as good as he should be? I don't think so. They've had plenty of time to refine the body, get the proportions just right, and I feel like they didn't do any of that. Like, the proportions are all over the place. He's pudgy in areas where I feel like he shouldn't be, but then he's really skinny and narrow in other areas, like the shoulders, they're not broad enough. The head sculpt looks good, but maybe too low on the body. Then the outfit doesn't flatter his proportions at all, whatever padding is underneath it. They really should have locked in when it comes to the proportions, but at least the suit itself looks so accurate and it's weathered. Plus, there's a mix of different textures and finishes. There's panel lines all over the place. There's a lot to love here, but also quite a few things that throw this piece off. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Daredevil's masked head sculpt. This is a pretty good looking sculpt. I think it's going to get better when we install the angry mouth plate, but likeness to Charlie Cox from some angles, like right there, I am seeing it. But it's still not perfect. I wouldn't say the likeness is a 10, maybe a 7 or an 8. It's the protruding top lip that gives him this real duck lip sort of thing, but the detail at least is exceptional. The the skin texture, the nose sticking out from underneath the cowl, the sculpt work on the lips with the line work, all of the detail for the stubble, the fact that he actually has a top lip. Usually when Hot Toys do beard sculpts, they turn out terribly, but not the case with Daredevil. Very little to complain about for me except for the expression and the likeness, so 2 things to complain about, I guess. But even from the side profile, that to me looks like Charlie, and the top lip issue isn't really a thing. Let me know what you think about this sculpt down in the comments. Some people have said the neck looks a little bit too short, and yes, I see it. I think it's because of the high collar for the suit, not necessarily the length of the neck, because if you detach the head sculpt, have it sitting inside the suit, then I feel like it's slightly too long, and the distance between here and when you connect it properly, it's not that big. But the cowl itself, the sculpt of it apparently isn't 100% accurate, but to me, it looks like the cowl from Born Again, shape and size-wise, not too flat, not too big and bulbous, fits in proportion with the mouth plate, and we've got this natural-looking wrinkling and buckling, even some bits jutting out on either side for his ears, for the balaclava underneath it. It's, of course, sculpted plastic. And the contrasting darker horns, the translucent, glossy lenses, the black surrounds. There's even some sculpted little vents right there that I didn't notice on the real cowl, but I've since looked up reference, and yeah, that's supposed to be there. Now, to switch out the mouth plate, instead of removing the entire helmet, which I wish you could do, you lift it up, replace the mouth plate, it plugs in place, then you can pop the cowl back down. That means you don't have to adjust it. With the old one, sometimes when you articulated the head sculpt, the cowl would start to ride up. Not going to be the case with this one. It locks in place very securely. And this mouth plate is my preference between the two. The teeth, I just cannot get over that level of detail. And I feel like the likeness might even be coming through better with this mouth plate versus the standard one. But I don't know, you'll have to let me know what you think of it. Switching back to the standard mouth plate, I want to compare this head sculpt versus the Netflix one, because I've always thought the likeness is pretty strong with the Netflix one. It's slightly fuller, like the cheeks are bigger, the chin juts out a bit, he's got a little bit of excess skin underneath the chin. I'm kind of torn when it comes to likeness detail though, hands down, gotta give it to the new one. Not that the colors match, but this head sculpt is fully compatible with this body. It's the same ball joint style neck connector, and his neck is a little bit longer, so maybe that helps with proportions, but still not sure on that. Ooh, that's not bad. Not the color. Once again, it's too bright for this suit, but the sculpt kind of works. I reckon it's the flared out collar that's giving him a little pizzazz. The neck is shorter, so the head sculpt sits lower, but that makes him almost look bulkier. Back to stock now, the yellow suit, Daredevil cowl. I like the shape of it, the silver chipping, the lenses, how they're darker than the Born Again cowl, but the likeness just didn't come through for me. There's something almost derpy about the way the mouth plate is integrated into this cowled head sculpt, especially versus the Born Again one. But we need to try out the Matt Murdock head sculpt, so let's install that, see what it looks like on the body. Yeah. Hot Toys, you cooked with this Charlie Cox head sculpt. From every angle, I'm seeing the likeness, particularly from below and three-quarter turn, like right there, that is undeniably Charlie Cox. The way the ears flare out, the shape of the nose, the forehead wrinkles, which were noticeably absent from the She-Hulk head sculpt, and the skin tone, it's slightly warmer and pinker and redder versus the yellow skin tone for the She-Hulk one. I don't think there's a contest. If anyone's displaying the She-Hulk head sculpt on the So-So Toys Hero Lawyer body, and you've got this figure on the way, yeah, probably time to upgrade, pop this head sculpt on the So-So Toys body instead, which we will of course be doing later. For me, it's the macro level detail, like the wrinkling on his neck right there, the feathered edge for the beard, and then the hairline where the sideburns meet the beard, the lines on his lips, the hairline up top, the dry brush effect on the hair, and once again, the glasses are removable. I would never display him like this because the expression in his eyes being completely wide open and smack bang in the middle like that just doesn't work for me, but it's good to know, I guess, that yeah, you can take the glasses off. The She-Hulk glasses do fit on this head sculpt, but they're very narrow at the front, and the oval lenses just don't flatter this head sculpt. I much prefer the glasses he comes with. Not only are they more accurate, but I just think they look better. But the question is, how does this head sculpt compare to the So Toys Hero Lawyer 2.0 sculpt? I like them both. There's something about the So Toys sculpt that still works for me to this day. The lips are a little bit big. The detail is softer. The skin tone is almost exactly the same. The beard is mostly painted instead of sculpted. The glasses are die-cast, which is a nice touch, but now that I'm seeing them both side by side, I am struggling to pick between them. Okay, So Toys head sculpt on the Hot Toys body. Neck is longer, maybe even too long. He's also wearing the Hot Toys glasses. I don't think I'd ever display him like this, but it is an option. I don't recommend doing this because I just don't think the head sculpt is as good as the new one, but if you prefer it, which is totally fine, you can display it on the red suit body, but the neck is shorter, so if you properly connect it to the neck connector, it would sit far too low. At least the glasses fit, but yeah, this is not my vibe. Because the neck is a little bit longer, even on the She-Hulk body, this looks better than the head sculpt it comes with. The glasses fit no problem. If I was ever going to display Yellow Suit Daredevil with an unmasked head sculpt on, it wouldn't be the one it comes with, it would be this one. Okay, this scratches an itch that's been around since this figure was first released. An unmasked head sculpt on the Netflix Daredevil body, wearing the glasses from the She-Hulk one because they're closer to the Netflix glasses. It sits at the perfect height, it's properly connected to the neck connector. This, 100% displayable. Okay, we're done with the head swaps. Let's talk about the body and the outfit. They really let us down with the body. I don't mean to make light of it, because they needed to improve on this, and they just didn't. The shoulders sit so low. Like, what is this gap? You can bring the shoulders up a little because of articulation, but nowhere near enough. They should have been broader and bigger and rounder. They shouldn't slope down like this. His biceps, they're too small. His pecs are very narrow. Then he doesn't taper down to the waist enough. Like, if you were to compare this to Charlie in costume, you would see some significant discrepancies in terms of how he actually looks on screen versus what Hot Toys gave us. Could you maybe save this by stuffing some padding underneath his traps, somehow getting it to his shoulders if you wedge it through the suit? Potentially, but I reckon the body might just be too big in certain places, like at the waist, and I'm not sure what you could do to adjust for that. The only way I could foresee fixing this is a body swap, and then which body would you even use? No idea. You can see through the outer layer of the suit that there's a lattice stitch underneath this vest for the undershirt, then the vest is lattice stitched in place right here. There would be some significant unstitching and ungluing, like the belt is glued in place, for example, to remove all of this stuff to get to the body. It's not a project I'm interested in tackling at the moment, but you never know. Maybe in the future. So that's the body. The suit, at least, is beautiful. All of the textures, the crisp panel lining, and my favorite detail, the weathering. Where has this weathering been for our previous Daredevil figures? The Netflix one, imagine that Netflix suit with some schmutz and dirt and grime, some blood splatter even on the surface. This just adds so much depth to the outfit that I think was very needed for this bright red outfit. Like, imagine if it was all completely clean, there was no weathering, it would be this bright red eyesore in the display. Some people have said that after color grading, the suit was way darker than this. Yes, that is true. This leans more prop costume on set accurate versus post color grading accurate, but the weathering kind of helps split the difference, visually speaking. The gauntlets are free-floating and adjustable. You can move them down to cover up the wrist pegs, and the color match between the gauntlets and the gloves using the same color paint, so no complaints there. The sculpted almost double Ds for the Daredevil logo as part of his belt, the belt buckle. Then there's weathering over the top of the shiny gunmetal, but still it's got this oil-stained wash to it. And there's even some weathering around the back. I do wish the billy club holders were fixed in place. They like to fall down. They're a friction fit. These buckles and straps aren't real. They're sculpted plastic. They're textured, the buckles look good, they contour to the shape of the leg, but they do tend to slide down. The billy clubs, they slot in place okay enough, but when you start to articulate him, they may move up, so dial in the pose first, then adjust them. His knee pads heavily weathered, but they're glued to the body, I feel like, underneath the suit, and that means they could potentially come off. They feel a little fragile, don't love that. The boots, single piece sculpts, and look at all of the detail. The buckles, what would be the red suit poking through those cutouts. There's weathering here, there's this speckling of dirt and grime. Then we've got the crosshatch pattern for, I think, the Under Armour boots that he was wearing with his She-Hulk costume, although they could be slightly different, not sure. There's sculpted tread, including underneath. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Born Again on the left, Netflix on the right, their latest attempt at Daredevil versus their first release. While I'll always have a soft spot for the Netflix look for Daredevil, and the proportions do look better, he's still a little bit skinny. Like, he's got the broader shoulders, the narrower waist, he's got some semblance of traps. The new one is chonkier in every dimension, maybe to his detriment, but he looks visually bigger, and the brighter suit, that more vibrant red, it draws the eye immediately. So as much as I thought I would prefer the Netflix suit side by side with the MCU red one, now that I'm seeing them in person, it's a close call, but for me, if I was picking between them, it would be the new one. Somehow, on camera, the yellow suit figure looks taller than the red suit one. If I was picking between these, I've always been a huge fan of the yellow and red color scheme for Daredevil, and seeing it on screen was brilliant, but there's no contest here. It's gotta be the figure on the left. You know, Hot Toys, y'all got it very right with your first Punisher, but either he's too tall or Daredevil is too short, because John Bernthal is 5'11", Charlie Cox is 5'10". There should be a size difference, but this is a little bit too drastic. Do they still look good together? Absolutely. On the shelf, Punisher next to Daredevil is always going to be a win. But hey, at least he did perfect scale with himself. This is So Toys Daredevil. Having these two figures on the same shelf, dramatically different looks for the same character, showing the evolution of Daredevil's outfit on screen, it's going to make for a pretty cool display, I think. You never know, it could happen in Brand New Day, but the scaling is way off here. Tom Holland, 5'7", Charlie Cox, 5'10". Spider-Man is not supposed to be taller than Daredevil. Going over articulation, starting off with Daredevil's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the fixed neck, looking forward to there, limited by the high suit collar. Looking up to there, heaps of range, way more than forward. Swivel, and plenty of pivot side to side. Separate vest to the undershirt, arms will go up to there before they lock out, going forward and back on soft ratchets, very soft. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, going past 90, no problem. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel, and you can cover it up with the adjustable gauntlets. Torso is quite heavily padded, and there's multiple layers to contend with, crunching forward. You know what? That's actually a little bit more than expected, but still not a ton. Going back to there, swivel, add some pivot side to side. Legs will go forward to there, and they spring down a bit because of the rubbery fabric. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90. I would be mindful of the knee pads, though. They feel like they want to pop off at this max bend. Then my favorite modern Hot Toys innovation, PVC plastic boots, hinge and swivels underneath them, good for forward and back, rotation, and we get some ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, couldn't we have gotten this again, Hot Toys, this little diorama element you gave us last time? You could pop it in front or behind or on top of the base. But no, all they give us is a simple rectangular base, which hurts even more because Season 2 Daredevil, the black suit one, is coming with a way better base than this. The second annoying thing is, who decided to make the helmet non-removable? Both helmets non-removable? Now you can't install the battle damage head sculpt on the body without some serious modding. And the third annoying thing, the proportions. They're really just not good enough. The shoulders are so low and they slope down. They're not big and broad enough. He's got a severe lack of traps. The pecs aren't wide enough. He's very narrow up top, but then he's too thick for the waist area. Hot Toys, you really need to go back to the drawing board on Daredevil's body because the one you've been using since the very beginning just isn't cutting it. The first cool thing is the Matt Murdock head sculpt. Some people have said that it's simply not accurate to have him with an unmasked head sculpt and the glasses in the suit, but if they hadn't have given us this, then we wouldn't have been able to do this. So Toys Hero Lawyer 2.0 body, and this head sculpt looks so freaking good on this outfit. I will 100% be displaying him exactly like this in the collection. The second cool thing, they've dramatically improved the wire for the billy clubs. They gave us our first set of wide billy clubs with Yellow Suit Daredevil from She-Hulk, but look how much longer the wire is, and this time it's removable. The third cool thing is the weathering. This is the first time they've given us a weathered 1/6 scale Daredevil. I still wish we could pop the battle damage cowl on. I think it would fit with all of the dirt and grime on the suit, but still, this outfit not being completely clean, that is exactly what I was hoping for. Wrapping up on Born Again Daredevil in his red suit from Season 1, I've come around. I really like this figure. He is not perfect. Like, the proportions are truly atrocious. The shoulders, the traps, the waist, but in the right pose, does he look good? Yeah, I think he does. The Charlie Cox head sculpt, that's the real standout for me. Then the mask head sculpt is better than I expected it to be, and we've got the angry expression mouth plate, which is my favorite of the two. The weathering on the outfit is a nice touch. The wired billy clubs. Yes, they should have refined the proportions, but seeing as though they didn't, is this an immediate pass? For me, absolutely not. Daredevil is my guy. The Netflix show, I grew up watching it. Now we've got Born Again, and I'm really enjoying the series. This outfit feels like a culmination of everything the costume designers were working towards with the red suit. Slap the double Ds on his chest and call it a day. I think this could be my favorite live-action Daredevil suit, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. At this very moment, yes, I recommend this piece, but just go in knowing you will have to work with the proportions, probably through posing. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.